Grifter, number 4, written by Nathan Edmondson, art by Scott Clark. We last left off with Grifter getting a hold of one of the Demonites and heading up to the Q-Core building in Seattle, aka Green Arrow's hometown. This issue picks up with Seattle in Green Arrow's hometown in the Q-Core building. There's a meeting with some investors, and one of the ladies is like walking them around, be like, "Oh yes, Q-Core is always at the top of the line of technology and blah blah blah." And we get Grifter's voiceover saying like, sometimes you got to be like chill and hang out in the shadows, but sometimes you got to make a bold move. And his bold move in this is he crashes his car through the front door of Q-Core, and he steps out with a giant gun in hand, and the Demonite is duct taped to his arm so that he can't get away. And he's like, "All right, just want to know who's in charge around here." And he knows it's Oliver Queen, and he wants Oliver Queen here now. He's holding actual just random people at gunpoint to make this happen. The Demonite voice starts talking. He's like, Hey, bro, I can see you're trapped. Do you need some help?" And he's like, "I can hear you, and if you want to show yourself too, I'd be more than happy to aim this gun at you." And the Demonite that he's taped to is like, "I led you here as a trap, you idiot. You're going to be blinded by your pride, just like the rest of your people." And he's like, "Hey, if I go out, you go out, and I'm more than okay with that." But as he's waiting for Oliver Queen to show up, the tape connecting the two of them is suddenly severed by an arrow, and so he had another gun within the duct tape aimed at the guy's head. So now he's got two guns trained on Green Arrow, who shows up, fires off a sleeping gas arrow, I guess you want to call it, and Grifter just manages to grab it out of midair, and he's like, "It's going to be a while before I understand how I did that." But basically these two just get into some sort of firefight. Grifter realizes that the Demonite that he had captured is getting away, but he's not able to both keep on his toes with Green Arrow while also chasing him. So he's forced to flee from Green Arrow and leave the Demonite to do whatever. We get a quick cutaway to the general who's been all over Grifter's case, and the bald guy who's in, I'm pretty sure, like the background of last issue. I don't even know if I mentioned him, but apparently the bald dude withheld some information that basically led Grifter's brother to his death, and the bald guy's blaming it on the general. I don't know where this came. I literally reread it to see where this came from, and I don't know. I have no idea what information we're talking about. But anyway, the bald guy leaves, saying the general doesn't even have a career anymore. He's a colonel, not a general. As a sergeant comes up and is like, "Hey, we got a sighting of our masked man in Seattle on the run from Green Arrow." And the colonel's like, "All right, get the car, let's go." So cut back to the fight. He's running through the streets. Green Arrow's on top of a truck. He's trying to get aim on Grifter. He's on his comms talking to his person in the chair, Naomi. Grifter manages to hijack a car out of a car wash, and he's got a really cool little bit here where it's not a convertible, mind you. He punches out the windshield. He takes his belt off, wraps it around the steering wheel, then jumps out onto the hood and uses the belt to steer the car while aiming backwards on the hood at Green Arrow. So they're in a bit of a firefight. Green Arrow manages to aim a shot to get the mask off of Grifter to be able to see his face. Grifter turns around, lunges, grabs his mask back off the edge of the arrow, puts it back on, and then they're stuck in a dead heat, like gun trained on Green Arrow's chest, arrow aimed at his throat. And there's like, "Okay, look, I'm innocent. Q-Core just has something to do with whatever I'm wrapped up in, and I'm just trying to clear my name." And Green Arrow's like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "They're Demonites. They're working for Q-Core. They're after me. They're body snatchers. That's all I got." And he's like, "Okay, you're crazy, and you're endangering innocents. That doesn't happen on my watch." So he manages to move the gun out of the line of shot and then shocks Grifter so that some police can come and surround him. And he's like, "Well, guess I'm out of luck." And then on cue, a smoke grenade comes in, and It ends up being shot, I think, by Green Arrow himself. It's hard to say because, I mean, it is an arrow, but it's shot by just off panel. It doesn't actually show Green Arrow doing it. But anyway, the smoke allows Grifter to get clear. He goes down an alley. And there's a woman waiting on a bike who's like, hop on if you want to live. So he hops on. A cop car's in their way. They do a cool jump ramp over it. And then Grifter gets away with this woman. Green Arrow's like, okay, who the hell was that? And they apparently got an ID on her. Their name is Sophia Cordon. She's a Q-Corps employee. And Green Arrow's like, well, pull everything on her and also look up this Demon Knight thing. That's something we're going to have to look into in our company. And then we just get a one-page epilogue of the girlfriend, Gretchen, who's still being tied up by the Damonites. And he's like, all right, tell us what makes your boyfriend so special, and we'll let you go. And he's like, I don't know, we're not together anymore. He's like, okay, all right, well, we've got this big scary monster thing that we're going to keep in the dark, but trust me, it's big and scary, and he's going to do anything to get the information out of you. And then they show the monster's eyes, and it's like anything. And that's where we leave off. As far as like little mini crossovers go, I like it. I like how it's just a thing of, okay, well, you know, the Damonites have something to do with Q-Corps. Something to do with Green Arrow. And it was just a quick little jump in and then jump out. And I don't even know, maybe we're still going to be in Seattle next issue. But maybe we'll stick around with Green Arrow. Point being is that I like when it's a smaller universe where people can actually run into each other. So overall, I'm going to give this one a 6. I really like the action scene of the car. My biggest problem with it is that, like, a lot of the decisions the characters make don't really make a lot of sense to me. Like, he works so hard to get this demon, like, on the edge of his gun. But then as soon as he, like, is separated from it, he doesn't just immediately pull the trigger. And as we've seen, when you pull the trigger on these things, they look like demons. Like, they turn into demon knights. They are aliens. So that would have cleared his story. I don't know. And then the whole thing with the general or colonel bit, I still don't know what to make of that. It just made some confusing leaps at times. But the action, which I think is the whole reason this book exists, is solid. And I think that's more than worth the 6. So yeah, no, I'm looking forward to seeing what we're going to do from here. It finally feels like there's some semblance of a story that we're going to follow, where it's, you know, it's just him trying to clear his name. That's the general amount of what we're doing, and everybody is against him. So yeah, no, I'm interested in that. I'm looking to see where it goes. But for this particular issue, 6.